Let's get a few things established first before we go into the meat of this actual video. Now, there are things that are pretty much agreed upon in this world, even though we don't agree upon a lot of things these days. We mostly agree that water is wet. The moon being flat or round, that may have some issues. The sky is blue and the grass is green, and yes, that's based off of pigments and spectrums and things like that. So that's what light's reflected off of it, yada, yada, yada. But one thing that most people are really going down with, except for so much of the administration, at least they're saying it's not a big deal, is that Russia is probably sharing targeting intelligence with Iran right now. Multiple U.S. officials and intelligence sources are citing this, and major outlets are reporting that Russia is providing Iran with intelligence that could be helping them target U.S. military forces in the Middle East. This information reportedly includes locations of American warships, aircraft, and troops, and raises concerns that Moscow is indirectly aiding attacks on U.S. assets, basically putting their thumb on the scale on what's going on right now in the Middle East. Top European Union diplomat is actually going a bit further with public remarks, like saying these words out loud in front of people, warning that such intelligence sharing could put American lives at risk and escalate the conflict. Like we said, water is wet, sky is blue. While phrasings like help killing Americans reflects a seriousness of concern, officials generally describe the situation a lot more diplomatically, using potentially enabling Iranian strikes in their conversations rather than direct coordination of attacks. Now, officials emphasize that there is no clear evidence that Russia directly is giving Iran any military action or choosing targets. There never really is. But instead, intelligence appears to be information sharing that can be used independently, basically getting them a couple of nods here, what could be around there, and they could figure it out on their own, as opposed to Russia saying, yo, drop bombs here, here, and here. U.S. intelligence sources say the full extent of the cooperation is still unclear, but they're pretty sure something's going on. They're whispering, they're giggling. There's something happening in between classes, and we can't get a grasp of it right now. The White House, of course, publicly downplaying the operational impact, saying that the reported intelligence sharing has not significantly changed battlefield outcomes. We're just that good, and what they're doing isn't good enough. Defense officials say the U.S. is aware of the situation and adjusting military plan accordingly, but it's not much adjustments because we're winning by much, much, much in the 27 days of the war, which is not a war. But if we can actually confirm these details, the reports would signal that a deepening alignment between Russia and Iran is there. These are two U.S. adversaries, although Trump doesn't think Russia's an adversary, that we really don't want hanging out together. Analysts say they could mark a shift from parallel opposition, two folks were fighting in different planes, if you will, towards U.S. coordinated activity between the two, even if it's indirectly towards that, with more actual sharing of data, more sharing of information to take the other out. It also raises fears that regional conflicts could involve a broader multi-country confrontations. More nations in the area will be involved, and more nations outside that don't want problems here in this area may be involved. Now, here's some implications of the actual activities. It is highlighting increasing cooperation between some adversaries, which makes it easier to see how hard it is to be the big brothers of the world when somebody always hates you. It also might push some Western allies to actually come together and help us strengthen with coordination and intelligence sharing. All the European nations that Trump's calling losers may want to actually contribute a bit more because this might get a bit more serious. In the meantime, it could escalate tensions to a bigger conflict that no one can get out of and raise concerns about indirect warfare and accountability and increase the danger to the U.S. personnel who are right there at the moment, not even talking about anyone else who comes in to help. The bottom line is there's a credible reporting. This is coming from not fake news folks. This is coming from real journalists and real folks on the ground who learn these things, that Russia is sharing intelligence with Iran. And that could be used against forces of ours in the region. The situation is still developing 27 days into this war, and officials caution that the extent, intent, and impact of cooperation are not fully understood. We don't know exactly what they're doing right now. We don't. So that is true. But we do know there's something wrong in the world today, and I would say everybody knows what it is. In the meantime, is Iran the biggest issue we should be focusing on here in the United States? Because I'm here in the States. Or are there there are, of course, other issues we're not talking about with this one. But is it the biggest issue? Is it the biggest issue because since we're talking about this one, we're not talking about the other ones? You let me know what you think about in the comments.